guys, welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Halloween Horror Nights in Universal, specifically the 10 haunted houses. We're going to be ranking them, kind of like we did last year, and letting you know what was our least favorite to our most favorite, and just kind of a little synopsis about each one and kind of what we thought about it. There's actually going to be a separate video. In this video, we're just going to be discussing the houses, not the scare zones, not anything else. We're going to have a separate video that's going to cover everything else, the scare zones, the extra events you can have, and a little more information about this. This is specifically about the houses. So, there's another video about the other stuff.
Alright, so we'll start at 10. We ranked Killer Clowns from Outer Space here.
Mm-hmm. One thing we definitely want to say is that none of the houses were really bad this year. Killer Clowns was actually pretty good. It just happens to be our least favorite.
Right.
It was kind of short. Wasn't real scary.
No, it was more interactive and like almost like a fun house kind of thing. There was actually buttons that you could push and things would happen. Like
supposedly, I don't really know what exactly, but
I kept hearing noises every time I pushed a button. I only pushed a couple of them, but from what we hear from our guide, he said that if you push the buttons, pranks would happen, and sometimes the pranks would be on you or on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept hearing like boinging noises and your typical clown noise things.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what happened.
But yeah, it was a fun house. Just the competition was so strong this year that it just happens to be ranking the bottom. So I would have liked to be a little scary, maybe a little longer. But it was still, for what it was, I think they did a pretty good job. Clownzilla was in there at the end and stuff. That was really cool. So that brings us on to the next one, the number 9 spot, and that is Us. The house was really good, and it was it followed the movie very well.
Yeah.
Very well, the storyline, even how they, you start off in the fun house on the Santa Cruz Pier, and then you actually go back, they have the same facade later, because you know how she goes back in the movie, which stuff like that was really cool.
Yeah, I liked how it pretty much followed the storyline of the movie, pretty good, and they had some really, pivotal scenes throughout the house. There was a few times that the people kind of just disappeared, and it was like, where'd they go? Because they were there 1 second, and then next thing you know, gone. So it was a pretty good house. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There weren't, for me at least, because we only did this one time. We didn't have a chance to do this one again. There wasn't as many scares as I guess I would have liked in this one. At the end, there's a really cool end section that calls back to the Hands Around America, or Hands Around the World, whatever it was called, from the movie. So that was cool. But all in all, it was also a pretty decent house.
So that brings us to number 8, which we put Depths of Fear here.
Yeah, this one, I really liked the house itself. The monsters were almost a little silly.
Yeah.
They
were fish people.
Yeah, but they were just actors with giant fish heads on them. And you could kind of tell in the house, but when they did that actor switch, they didn't wear robes, and they were literally just giant fish heads.
Yeah, it was just they were wearing almost colored leotards underneath that matched the fish head. But that was it.
Yeah.
The whole costume was just
so
the fish head. It was really strange and weird because we actually got to see them. Quite a few of the houses switch out for actors. They do that every half hour or so, and it was just kind of funny, just odd to see all these fish heads just come at us, and it was like.
It was really strange. But the house was really cool, and there was a lot of really good scares in it. They got me quite a few times. The giant fish heads, they did get me quite a few times. Yeah, the monsters were just B horror movie though, which was kind of strange. But overall, I thought the house was quite a bit of fun though. I did enjoy it.
Kind of reminded me of a sci-fi, cheesy 80s sci-fi movie, just something ridiculous like that, you could see overacting just abundant in this kind of movie or something. But overall, it was a pretty cool house though.
Yeah, I did enjoy it for sure. Next up was Nightingales. This one has probably one of the coolest facades, and I don't remember if I have a picture of it or not. Everything was really fast. I have videos of some of this stuff, which I'll be inserting. But Nightingales, my favorite thing about this was I think it had the creepiest creatures.
Yeah.
They're like these weird bird-looking things, and I know they've been in previous Horror Nights. Not that we've been.
Right. This one was actually called Nightingale's Blood Pit.
Right, Nightingale's Blood Pit.
I believe the other one was called Nightingales, and it might have had a little subtitle as well. But yeah, this is a prequel. It's basically the premise is that the Nightingales are summoned by blood and gore, and they decide to come upon a Roman Colosseum where, of course, they're,
There's lots of that.
beating the crap out of each other, and they end up attacking all the fighters underneath, because underneath the Colosseum is where they, keep all the people, because they're essentially prisoners. If you know any history or anything like that, is basically these people fought against their will, just for sport and to, entertain the rich people. So the Nightingales go down underneath and start just attacking and ravaging all these gladiators and such like that. Yeah. Who are you going to call? Next person on our list, that would be Ghostbusters. This one was fun. If you know this is from the original 1980s movie, not the remake or anything like that. This is the original Ghostbusters, and it was a fun house. It was really fun.
I think we expected it to be a little higher on our list, but yeah, it was fun. It wasn't that scary. There's like I said, I liked it, but there's a few things I guess that maybe I don't know, like.
Yeah, it was very faithful to the movie.
Yeah.
It could have used a few more scares. They had some pretty ingenious things. Like, I actually pointed out something that somebody hadn't seen before because they had gone through the house before, and there were just a little subtle things that they put in there that were kind of fun.
Yeah, the attention to detail in this house was really great. But yeah, especially seeing the stuff they did with the Hollywood house, there's some stuff that I kind of wish they would have done in ours a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was kind of just a projection, which kind of made me sad. I would have liked. I know it's a big thing, but they made a Demogorgon, or not a Demogorgon, the Mind Flayer in Stranger Things. So I feel like they could have done a little bit better job with the Stay Puft. He was still cool, I guess. But overall, it was a really good house. I just thought it would actually be a little higher on the list than it is. Yeah. But speaking of Demogorgons and Mind Flayers, number 5 is Stranger Things. I didn't like this as much as last year's.
No.
It was still really cool, and this again is one we only got to go through once because Alliance was insane on it, of course. Most notably the Mind Flayer at the end, which we were told by our tour guide it took like ridiculous numbers, like 18 people or something like that to control it.
Yeah, he said there was 18 people total in that room, and at least 3 on each of the arms, I guess you would call them, of the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, it was cool.
It was really cool. It took up the entire room. It was huge.
Yeah, this is one of the longer houses too.
And it actually combined season 2 and season 3. It does kind of end abruptly in the house. If you haven't watched season 3, it kind of ends, but doesn't reveal the ending. It's kind of weird, almost like they're waiting for the next season so they can do another house and continue it or something.
Yeah, which I'm sure they will. Probably, I don't know about next year because I doubt that Stranger Things season 4 will be out.
Yeah.
By then, but yeah, it was a good house because you can see Starport Mall, get to go to the labs, and it even has a little bit of it's the very end of season 1. It has the last scene basically of season 1 into the end of season 3. But like she said, yeah, I think Starport Mall was the last thing, so they never really there's no resolution in that house, which is weird.
Starcourt Mall, and then they show one part of under Starcourt Mall. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they don't show anything else. Like, so our next house, number 4, is Graveyard Games. This was an original concept from Universal, and basically it's these 2 punk kids, Sid and Nancy. Yeah, they went there. Decide to go to the local graveyard and vandalize it because, that's what you do when you're asshole teenagers. And this pisses off the resident ghosts, and they basically torture them, and it's pretty cool. It's almost like your classic haunted house, spooky.
Yeah, it is very
haunted house kind of thing. Like, it's like, spooky graveyard, catacombs, lots of ghouls and ghosts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the makeup and stuff. I like seeing like the more traditional ghouls and ghosts. This one had quite a few good scares in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in there. And it is exactly, though, it is pretty much exactly what you're imagining it to be. Like, whatever, like when you hear a graveyard haunt, it is that thing. I mean, done very well, though. Done to Universal standards of no expenses being spared.
And this actually was an interactive kind of haunt. If you were to actually go to Universal Studios Florida's Facebook page and message them, you may get a response back from either Sid or Nancy or even one of the resident spirits of the graveyard. Right. And there's also posts that Sid and Nancy put of them actually vandalizing. They do videotape themselves doing the deeds. And people's responses to that and such like that. So it's kind of neat that you can interact using like modern, social media and stuff.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. And they had a whole bunch of that to help with waiting in the lines this year, which is good because these lines are horrible. Even though like an hour long line might not even seem like that much at first, and then you're like, oh, but there's still 9 other houses, and you're like, oh my god.
Right.
So that brings us to number 3, and this is one of my personal favorites, was House of 1,000 Corpses. If you've seen the movie, it is very true to the movie and all of that. It does the thing just like a lot of the Universals when it flows from like the beginning to the end of the movie. There's just a lot of really cool things in here, and every character you're gonna want to see is in the house as well, including the monsters, Captain Spaulding. Whatever those things are that's underground, and it is kind of trippy like the movie is. Lots of good scares in this one.
Dr. Satan's in it.
Yep. Yeah. This house was just really cool. I overall enjoyed it very much.
I got scared by Captain Spaulding. It surprised me very much.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that got me, and then the Otis coming in the what was the thing you would always that he says,
I'm the one who brings the
Christmas candy. Yeah, I'm the one that line, yeah.
I swear we heard it like 20 times walking through the house.
Right. Yeah, if you like the movie, you'll love the house for sure. If you don't, even if you haven't seen the movie, you'll still probably have a lot of fun with it. So it's a really cool house.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Rob Zombie, like anything Rob Zombie, you'll like the house. For sure.
It's like a year for Rob Zombie because we also got the Scare Zone, which we'll talk about in the other video. But it's kind of like he has his own Scare Zone and he has his own haunted house. Look at that.
All right, so that brings us to our number 2 haunt, and that would be Yeti Tear.
The Yukon.
Yeah. This house was actually really well done. If you remember last year, they had a B-movie type haunted house that had a bunch of like made up
Slaughter
Cinema. It had a bunch of made up B movies that these people put together. Well, one of them was called Swamp Yeti. Well, the guy who did this house, he wanted to go forth and do a house kind of based on that. He wanted to do Yetis.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to do Yetis, but I'm going to do snow Yetis.
Yeah, like the actual, like the version of Yeti, I feel like is for sure a lot more associated.
Yeah. So it was really well done. Each Yeti is different. which was kind of neat because they all had like their own unique character and color.
Yeah, which is something you might never realize, but we did the RIP tour, which we'll talk more about in the other video, but this is something that he actually told us about, which is how we know. And so when you know about the kind of thing you look for, but I feel like the general public isn't going to be like, oh, that Yeti's slightly on first. But there was a cool story, too, because it was like, and this is something else the guy told us, that they wanted it to kind of like be able to, like, you walk in and it's almost like they wanted you to feel like you're like a CSI crime investigator type of thing, you know, where you're kind of like, you walk in, you're like, what happened? Well, you start to see that a lot of people have like Yeti pelts and Yeti, or like the fur pelts. So, I mean, I'm assuming what happened is these people were out there, probably found the Yetis, poaching them for their fur and stuff, and, well, the Yetis don't like that very much, and so they got them back.
Their fur's very soft.
That was very soft, because there's a certain place where you have to push yourself through. And, yeah, that was cool. Alright.
Alright.
So that brings us to our number 1, which is Universal Monsters. Just the scenes in this were so elaborate. It wasn't the most scary, but it was pretty scary, though. I think Yeti was actually the most frightening, but this one was, I think for sure, like the coolest to walk through.
Yeah, if you're not familiar what Universal Monsters is, that's of course your classic monsters. You've got Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein's creature, Bride of Frankenstein,
Invisible Man, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
It's all in
Quasimodo, you know, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. All of those guys are in this. Yeah. And girl. And it's just really well done, and the scenes were just super elaborate and just really made you feel like you stepped into it, but it was also a twist on it, because it's part Universal Monsters, like the classic movies, but then they also made their own little spin on it. So these are more like grotesque and gnarly looking versions. Like Dracula is not your dapper, you know, Bela Lugosi. He's more like, you know, I'm gonna rip your neck out.
Yeah, a little more Nosferatu is kind of how he was designed. A little more like, not really, but like more creaturey, like, almost.
Frankenstein's monster was more like,
he was morbid looking, not like
decay. Yeah. And just falling off flesh. Like same with the bride. Yeah, like she had like pieces of herself falling off, things like that.
Because in the original movies, they're more of just like, they're solid, just like a green painted guy. But this is like more of what you would actually expect it to look like, which is cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool take, and it was very very well put together. I got scared quite a bit from like unexpected things, and I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, there's also the Phantom of the Opera was in there too.
Oh yeah, Phantom.
That's right. Because there's one really cool spot, and they did this in another house too, but I don't remember what the other house was. But it's like I don't know what the wall's made of, but apparently like somehow when they shine the light behind it, then you can see through the wall.
Oh yeah, like a two-way mirror.
It's kind of Is that because it was like checkered? But anyways, that was something they did for the Phantom of the Opera. You hear him playing the organ, and then you hear the darn, and like the light shines, and he's like the person's like right there, and that was really cool. Yeah. But yeah, that house was really awesome. He said all of them, even our last place, Killer Clowns, was good. And like last year, you know, I mean, like when we did like Blumhouse, I think I'm sure was a number 10. You know, that house was like meh. I like wouldn't even want to go back into that one. It was kind of just bleh. But like Killer Clowns, we didn't go back into because we didn't have time. But I'd for sure wait for it again. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, that does it for this video on the houses. Like I said, make sure you watch the other video we're going to do, which is going to cover the scare zones, the different types of tours you can do. We're going to do some information on that and the one we did, and also we're going to talk about the Academy of Villains show. So we will see you guys in that video, and also make sure to subscribe and like us on Facebook.